Okay, so hey there guys. So today's video is going to be my February favorites. I cannot believe February is over. I know I say this every single video, but it's true. I cannot believe February is over. Like today is the last day of February. So I figured I would film my February favorites on the last day of the month because usually on the weekends I'm pretty busy with work and seeing my boyfriend. So I figured today would be a good day to film. I actually did work today, but I was done pretty early, a little bit before 4 o'clock, and I only ended up working 3.5 hours today, which kind of sucked because I was supposed to work 6 hours, but like my boss had to talk to me about something, so my shift ended up ending earlier than it should have, so that kind of sucked. So, but hopefully working on the weekend will make up for it. So I have pretty specific favorites this month. I really tried to concentrate on the newer products that I have in my collection, and also there are just specific things that I really did use consistently throughout the month that I really want to talk about. And this time I'm actually really excited to share with you guys this favorites video because I actually did use these products a lot because I feel like the reason why I got to utilize more of my newer products was because I just didn't buy that much makeup this month. I only bought like a couple things from ColourPop and like a couple things from Marshalls, like literally 2 things from Marshalls, and that was it. So I think I only bought, like 7 makeup products this month, and then last month I think I only bought like 3 or 4. So in total, I think I've only bought about 10 makeup products in the past 2 months. So that's really good for me because usually I will like buy everything that I want. But like I said, I don't really have the financial means right now, and I just don't really want to overwhelm myself with too much makeup. So hopefully I will get my tax return soon, but I am going to go into a whole video about my update on my low buy and to tell you guys how I've been doing in that. So stay tuned for that, but obviously we need to do our favorites first. So let's jump into a couple of foundations. So I have been really into stick foundations this past month, and I only own 2 in my collection. I have the Makeup Forever Ultra HD foundation stick. This is the shade Y225, and then I also have the ColourPop No Filter Stick Foundation in the Fair 05W shade. Now, the Makeup Forever Ultra HD stick, I'm actually wearing this one today because I really wanted to wear it to see, like, to remind myself if I still really like it, and I still really do like it. These are actually the only 2 foundation sticks in my collection, and I kind of want to get into foundation sticks a little bit more over the next couple of months. I'm really interested in picking up at least 2 different ones that aren't like breaking the bank. They're both like drugstore foundations, but this is like the only high-end stick foundation that I have in my collection. I've never really tried too many liquid products from Makeup Forever. The only other foundation that I've tried from them is the regular Ultra HD foundation, because then I got this a little bit like a year later. I think they didn't release it till at least like a year later. And the reason why I got this one was because Kathleen Lights absolutely raved about this foundation until she got the Hourglass one, which the Hourglass stick foundation I'm not a fan of. I really don't like that foundation. But this one I've always liked, and I kind of want to make it my goal to finish it up this year. I should have added, I don't know if I added this in my project pan. I probably did, and I'm probably like just talking about it, saying I'm going to add it. But I think I'm going to, if I didn't say it in that video, look how much I have left. So there's not too much product left, so I feel like I could use this up this year. So I have been using it quite a bit this month, and I really like it. It blends out really easily. It is a bit drying. Foundation sticks are a lot more matte than regular foundations are. And I kind of like the effect more of the Dior foundation over like these 2, but I do like this one because it's nice and quick and easy to apply, and it always looks pretty good. It does look kind of dry throughout the day. Like right now, I think it's more so my concealer though than the foundation, but I also think my sponge wasn't wet enough when I applied it, but I think it looks okay. I just feel like the parts that I applied the concealer, it's kind of conflicting with that, and it kind of looks a little bit dry. But on camera, it looks really good. I just think it gives like a nice matte foundation, matte finish. It looks like skin, and it just isn't trying too hard, and it's not like full coverage, but it's not like super light coverage. It's just like in the middle. So that's why I really do like this foundation. So I'm going to continue to use this more. Hopefully I'll be able to use it up maybe by July or August. Like, I'll see if I can use it up before the end of the year. And then the other foundation, of course, is the ColourPop No Filter Stick Foundation in the color Fair 5W. I did get this in a set. Now, for some reason, this one is kind of smelling a little bit weird. It smells like very fresh and chemically right now. Fresh and chemically. The last time I applied it, like a couple of days ago, it kind of smelled a little bit weird on the skin. And I thought that was kind of weird since I've had this one for, I think, like 2 years, and I've only had this one for like a month or so. And this one is already smelling kind of weird. But I'm like, whatever, it's like a $10 product, and if it doesn't last forever, it's not like the end of the universe. I like this foundation. It does have, I feel like if it has just a tiny bit more coverage, or kind of like the same amount of coverage as the Makeup Forever one. This one does take a little bit more work to blend out, but it is a nice foundation. It's not my absolute favorite. I actually prefer the No Filter foundation over this one. I think the No Filter foundation looks better, and it has more coverage, and it just looks better on my skin. This one is good. Again, I just feel like this one looks very dry on the skin. I do like it, and I like how, again, it's very easy and simple to use because, again, that's why I've been loving stick foundations lately. But I don't know if it's my absolute favorite. Like, I've used it quite a few times this past month to test it out and really tell you guys how I feel about it. It's good. It's not like my favorite foundation ever. So I thought it would be one of my new favorites, but it's just good. It's not like something I love. The one I still love, and my #1 foundation this year, and I'm going to keep on mentioning it, but I do reach for this constantly. This is the Dior Backstage foundation. The last time I wore it, it looked so glorious on my skin. It just looks so beautiful. And every time I wear this, I am reminded on why I love it so much. It's just so beautiful on the skin. It's just like second skin. It's not too much coverage. It's not too light, not too heavy. It's just a perfect like medium coverage. And I find that I only need like one layer of this, because when I do one layer, like basically it looks like this. Like, that's the coverage that I really do like, and this is the coverage I usually go for. I don't love super full coverage foundations, and this one is just so beautiful on the skin. It blends out beautifully. It lasts for like, I wouldn't say that this lasts all day. I really just wear this for a few hours at work, and then I'll take it off, because I don't find that it lasts all day. I feel like it has more of a natural dewy finish. Not too dewy, but definitely not matte. I feel like it's more of like a demi-matte finish, but I feel like it does get shiny a little bit throughout the day, and I feel like that's why it doesn't last as long as I would like it to. I wish it lasted a lot longer, but this foundation is so bomb. I love it so much, and this one's in the shade OW, which is the lightest shade. And again, it's just beautiful. I can't say enough things about it. So but this was definitely these two were the newest foundations to my collection this past month, or past couple of months. I got this back in December, and this one I got in February, which was this month. So these are the two foundations I've been testing out the most. And I definitely love the Dior over the ColourPop, but that's like not really comparing things fairly, because this is obviously a stick foundation, but it's amazing. I love it. This is still one of my holy grails, probably in my top 5 favorite foundations ever. It's just so beautiful. So that is it for foundations. Now, speaking of face products, let's just talk about my most used powder this month. I've not been able to put this down the past couple of weeks. This is the only powder I've been using to set my face, and this is the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish Skin Perfecting Micro Powder in the shade 1. I did rave about this last month, and I'm going to rave about it again. Look how much I've used already. Look at that dip in there. I feel like I'm going to hit pan on this very soon. My goal is to kind of hit pan on it very soon, but it's just, it feels like a butt. Like, it feels like a pillow when you put your finger in it. It's just so light and soft, and it just looks so beautiful on the skin. I've just been using it every single day. I just love it because it has like more coverage than the Giorgio Armani, but I like this even more than that one. I think that this is my holy grail powder. It's just so beautiful. Like, it works with every single foundation. It's just the powder I always think of because I know it's not going to feel heavy on my skin with any foundation that I use. It's just going to make my skin look perfect and airbrushed every time that I use it to set my foundation, and I just love it. So I keep on using this. I cannot put it down. The only time I use a different powder is when I'm either trying to alternate the Hourglass powder to set my face, or I use my Wet n Wild powder when I do like very light makeup looks, like when I do Makeup and Chill Fridays. Usually I use that powder, but this one is usually my go-to. I use this like 5 times a week at least, and I just love it. I cannot put this down. My goal is to hit pan on this very soon. I'm hoping this will be the next product I hit pan on. But yeah, I use this constantly. So 2 products I want to pan. Hopefully I can do that. So yeah, that's it for face products. Let's just talk about a couple of concealers real quick. So actually we have a couple more face products to talk about. So the concealers that I've been using the most this month, and I've been trying to see whether or not I do actually like these concealers, because like I said before I started using these, when I first started using these, I really wasn't like a huge fan of them. But this is the Kevyn Aucoin Supernatural concealer in the shade Light EC01, and like I said, this is the lightest shade in this concealer. And actually, I really do like this concealer a lot. It has really beautiful coverage, and it blends out really nicely. It's kind of like, it's pretty full coverage, honestly. It covers a lot. It's not like, oh my god, so full coverage that it's like, it looks like a mask. It's more so like a very natural full coverage, but it covers like really well. The only thing that I would say about it that I don't love is that it doesn't really last too long on the skin. I can kind of see that it has creased in certain areas, but I do like how it looks under my eyes today. It looks a little bit dry, but I'm going to tell you guys why I've been loving these 2 concealers a lot more recently, because I've been changing the way I've been setting my under eyes. So this one I really have been enjoying this month, and then of course I wanted to mention the Jouer Essential High Coverage Liquid Concealer. Like I said, I wasn't really sure how I felt about this concealer, and this one's in the shade Snow. But I definitely do prefer this concealer over the Tarte Shape Tape. I just do not like the Tarte Shape Tape. I don't think it's a good concealer at all. I definitely think that this is a better concealer. When I use the Tarte Shape Tape, I notice that it settles into my fine lines like right away, and it does not last that long on my face. So I'm just like, I really don't love this concealer. I don't know why everybody loves it. I think I'm going to get rid of it, honestly, because I've had it for at least 2 years, and I think it's time for me to declutter it because I don't think it's that good. So I do really love this one as a full coverage option. I have been reaching for it quite a bit. I just used it yesterday with my L'Oreal True Match Foundation, and I really liked it. I think it has really nice coverage. This is very high coverage. Like this one you can build a little bit, but this one is basically like this would be with 2 layers. Like this one would be like the same as this one. But this is a good concealer as well. I really have been liking it. Again, it can break up a little bit around my nose area. And again, I have been using the Urban Decay Naked Skin Concealer quite a bit this past month as well, but I did mention that last month that I started whipping that out and using it again. But I do want to mention another concealer that I just whipped out and used again. But yeah, really like this concealer as well. That one's a lot more creamier, and I just like it more than the Tarte Shape Tape. The one that I recently pulled out of my collection and I started using it again a couple of days ago is the Milani Retouch and Base Light Lifting Concealer, and this one is in the shade Fair 01. And I kind of wanted to pull this out and see if I still like it, because every time I would use it, I just thought it was so yellow on my skin, but it was more so the foundation that was too yellow when I would use this concealer. But ever since that I started baking under my eyes, which I'm going to tell you guys my 2 favorite baking powders, because I didn't want to talk about baking it until I got into the powders, but ever since I baked this under my face, under my eyes, I only used it once and it looked so good, but I used it a couple of days ago and I loved how it looked underneath my eyes. So I used to not love this because it used to crease really easily. But it really is crazy how much of a difference baking makes to set your concealer. But I really liked this too. It blends out really beautifully. It's very creamy, and I really, really like this recently as well. So the two powders that I've been using the most to bake, I mean, I was using the NARS one, but honestly, I think that these two are more so my favorites because I like how these are milled more because I like how softly and finely milled that they are. The first one is the Hourglass Translucent Setting Powder Veil Setting Powder. And this one, like I said, is so finely milled. It's so silky smooth. You really don't feel like you're baking your eyes when you use this. It just is so soft and it's just so lightweight on the skin that you don't really feel it. And what I've been doing is I've been taking my L'Oreal sponge and I've been dampening it, and then I've been dipping it right into the powder, and then I'll just pat it underneath my eye area, and I'll kind of bring it down a little bit around this area. And that's the only part of my face that I will bake because I don't really like baking the rest of my face because I just feel like my skin is too dry for it. And I do find that it does help my skin, especially my under eyes. Like if this part of my face looks a little bit dry and my under eyes still look okay, like I'm good. Like I don't need everything to last like all day. I just want my concealer not to crease because I feel like it looks so bad when your concealer creases. So ever since I've been using this with those three concealers, or mostly these two, because I wanted to determine whether or not I really liked these. I actually really have been liking these a lot more now since I've been baking. And they won't crease half as badly or half as fast if I bake. So I was like, why haven't I done this? Like, that's why people bake, so something doesn't crease. So, and then the other powder I've been loving for baking is the Laura Mercier Translucent Setting Powder. This used to be like everybody's favorite powder to bake. I was about to say to bank. Until the Cover FX powder came out, and now like everybody uses the Hourglass one. But this was like the mothership. This was like everybody's favorite powder. And I love this one as well. Again, it's very, very finely milled. And this one is a little bit heavier than the Hourglass. You can feel this while you're baking. But it's so good. Like, these ones, again, they're both so soft and they're so finely milled that I've just been loving both of these to bake with. And I've been using this one quite a bit as well. And it is a really, really good setting powder as well. So that is it for me and baking. But yeah, definitely changed my opinion on these two foundations. I mean, these two concealers. I really need to... that's all I've been doing since I started doing it. I basically got into baking again because when I did it, the first time I hated it because I felt like my under eyes were so dry when I did it. But I watched Roxette Arisa's video on baking, and well, not really on baking, but just like she baked her under eyes for a tutorial, and I was like, you know what, I really should do this. And I loved it when I actually tried it again because she only bakes for like a couple of minutes and then she brushes it off. She was like, you only really need to do it for like 3 to 5 minutes, and I only do it for like basically 3 minutes, and it really, really does help. So now let's get into some eyeshadow. So the first two I'm dying to talk about, I have to talk about these first, are the Kathleen Lights and ColourPop Zodiac pigments. Oh my god, you guys. I think that these are my favorite pigments I've ever used, and I know I'm always talking about how good ColourPop is, and Caitlin, shut up about ColourPop. But honestly, their products are so good. I feel like their products are so worth it because they're good quality, inexpensive products. Yes, they probably have went up in price a little bit more recently. And, sorry, my dog is barking. And they actually have added sales tax to their website now, which I didn't realize. So, like, basically you're spending a little bit more than you would think. Like, and of course, like after I had ordered these, there was a promo code for 20% off the website, which that made me so happy. But anyway, I love these because the reason why I love these so much is that you barely need any product and it's like wha-bam pigment. I used this one in my first impressions Get Ready With Me for the ColourPop products that I got, like the stick foundation, the mascara, the lipstick. I used this all over my lid and it was just so beautiful. This one, I can't really swatch these very well, but this one is a stunning like rose gold kind of color. And I've used this one on my lid multiple times. I've actually used both of these on my lid 3 times this month, and which is like crazy to me. Because like, you know, these are so big and it's like, looks like I've never even touched these, but like there's so much product in these. But the thing about these is that you don't really need any products. Like you put a little bit, what I do is that I put a little bit in the cap, or I'll just dip like the tiniest amount when I like take the seal off, and I'll dip my brush and then I'll just sweep it across my lid. I'll like press it on and then sweep it on my lid. And it's just so stunning. Like I did wet it the first time that I used it, but after that, I found that I didn't really need to wet them to get the full pigmentation. And it's just stunning. Like this one, I didn't really notice like the duochromeness of it until I wore it the next couple of times, and it's beautiful. So pretty. And then the other one is, of course, My Sign, which is the lion. It is such a stunning gold shade. I know I say this about every single gold in my collection, but I think that this is my favorite gold pigment I've ever used. I know I have, I used to have Stila's Kitten, which was one of my favorites, but I used that one up. And then I also have the Too Faced Pure Gold, which is also amazing. But this one, and I also love the Makeup Forever Starlit Powder too, but this one is so gold and glittery. This one has more glitter than my other gold pigments do, and it's just stunning. I wore this 3 times as well on my lid, and every time I wear it, it's so beautiful. It's just so easy to use because you sweep it across your lid, your eyes are done, you know? And I did actually use this on my inner corners as well in the makeup update that I'm posting about my no buy, and I actually had this one on my lid, so I had both of these on in that video, and I loved it. So these are just so versatile. I feel like you can use them as highlighters as well. And Kathleen also said you can use them on your nails. She said you can use them over lip gloss or over lipstick to make it like a glittery kind of gloss. So, but yeah, I'm mostly just going to be using these on my eyes. But yeah, these are stunning. I love these. So, 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. I'm sorry, but they are stunning. I love them. Speaking of the Zodiac collection, I know I talk about this palette so much, but honestly, this was my most used palette this whole month. I used this palette at least 5 or 6 times this month, and that's a lot when it comes to a palette. But the reason why I use it so much is because I used it almost every single time that I used the pigments, because I wanted to use it coincidingly with the pigments or in conjunction, and that is the ColourPop Zodiac palette. I mostly used a lot of the mattes, but I did actually do like a full frozen look with this palette, and I used like the Pisces all over the lid, and I used like this as a base, or like another shadow as a base, and then I put this over it as a glittery topper, and it looks so stunning. But I mostly used a lot of the mattes this month. Honestly, I didn't really use too many of the shades on my lid because every time I would use it, I would be using these on my lid. But I utilized a lot of the colors this month, and I really do realize that this palette really is a beautiful palette. It might look like a kind of a random selection of colors to you guys, but it really is a beautiful palette. So I mostly used a lot of the mattes this month. I didn't really use too many of the shimmers, maybe like these two on the inner corners. I did use Scorpio on my crease once. I didn't use it on the lid. I used all of these in the crease, and I use this one on the lid, and of course I always use the Taurus and the Virgo. Like every time I use the palette, I use this as a transition shade a couple of times. It's just a really beautiful palette. So I'm probably not going to use this palette for a little while because I need to start using other palettes in my collection, but it really is a beautiful palette. So I did use it a shit ton with the pigments because obviously I wanted to use it with those because hello, it's the Zodiac collection. So I wanted to see how it paired with the pigments. Okay, so The next eyeshadow palette I wanted to talk about, this was definitely my most used eyeshadow palette besides the Zodiac palette, and that is the Urban Decay Naked Cherry palette. I did pull this out a couple of times this month, and I really wanted to use this palette to utilize the other shades that I really wanted to use again in this palette, because ever since I got the palette, some of the shades I've only used once on my lid. I'm like, Caitlin, you need to actually use these and actually wear the other shades on your lid so you really can get some more use out of it. And I have to say, the mattes are good. They're not like the best mattes from Urban Decay, but they're good. But the lid shades are stunning. These lid shades are some of the best lid shades I've ever used from Urban Decay, and that's saying a lot. But these are so freaking pigmented. These shimmers, can I speak? The shade Drunk Dial, like, don't let it fool you in the pan. Like, it's this really stunning bronzed, but it has like a dual chromey rosy shift to it. Do you see that? It looks so much prettier on the eyes. Like, when I actually applied this to the eyes last week, because I used it last Friday, and I really wanted to use this color on my lid, you could see more of the pink reflectiveness on your lid. It's kind of similar to the Twins pigment, but it has a little bit more brown, and it's just so freaking stunning. And these like pack a punch when you apply them. They are so beautiful. And then of course, I think I raved about Ambitious last month, but this shade is just stunning. Look how pigmented that is. That is one swipe. Like, this one is also phenomenal on the lid. And then Bang Bang, which is also like a really beautiful neutral toned shade. Really beautiful neutral peach shade. That's also a stunning shade. These, I swear, they don't translate as well swatched as they do on the lids. They really are so pigmented and vibrant on the lids. This palette is so underrated. Like, it's so good. Like, I actually really love this palette. This one is Young Love. I used this one. I actually used this whole palette for a Valentine's Day look when I went to work for Valentine's Day, and I used this one all over the lid because, hello, it's called Young Love, and it was just so stunning. Again, this is so much more pink on the lid than it is actually in a swatch. It's so beautiful. And then Turn On is the last shimmery shade. Just all of these shades are amazing. Like, I love them. Look at that shade, Turn On. Oh, it's so pretty. I usually always use that one on the inner corners when I use this palette, but this one is also stunning on the lid as well. So I love this palette. I use it quite a bit, and yeah, I'm really happy that Chip got this for me during our makeup swap, and it's just a solid palette. So you guys really should try it if you guys were thinking about trying the newer Naked palettes. I think this one is a really, really good one. And then the last eyeshadow palette I wanted to mention, of course, is the Natasha Denona Gold palette. I did use this a couple of times this month, not too much, honestly, but I did want to mention it again, that it's still like a favorite of mine, and I have been using it the past couple of weeks. And I have used some of the shades again, and I really, really like it. The mattes are really soft and beautiful. The shimmers are pretty. The shimmers aren't, like, honestly to die for, like, best shimmers ever, but I finally used the gold shade on my lid again, and oh my god, it's so stunning. I really need to use this palette more this month, because honestly, I really wanted to concentrate on the cherry palette most of this month, so I didn't really use this palette as much as I would have liked to. But the gold is so beautiful, and the mattes are so soft, and they're so easy to blend out on the eyes. So I definitely kind of appreciate that about the mattes. Like, look how pretty those are. And honestly, I really didn't play with too many other shades this month. I think I only wore this like a couple times this past month. But it's a really good palette, so I'm really happy that I was able to add this palette to my collection. And I'm just going to try and utilize the last few palettes that I have to use in my collection, and then I'll be able to concentrate more on other palettes that I really want to use, like the colors in on my lid and stuff. But yeah, this one is a great palette as well. So that's it for eyeshadow palettes. Now let's talk about a couple of eyeshadow singles. So the first one I wanted to talk about is the Stila Vivid and Vibrant Eyeshadow Duo in the shade Jade. Now, I did pick up one of these from Marshalls, and I did share this in my haul video. And I picked up the Green Duo, and surprisingly, I've used this 3 times this month. 3 times. Like, that is unheard of for me when it comes to a single eyeshadow. Like, the fact that I've used all 3 of these, like, and utilized these so much is, like, mind-blowing to me. And I still wore all of my Stila shadows that I wanted to wear this month too. So I'm like so proud of myself when it comes to single shadows. That's why I didn't like wear the Natasha Denona palette as much, because I was concentrating on a lot of single shadows this month and like pigments and stuff. I'm wearing a milk pigment today, and I just feel like so good about using my singles. But anyway, this is so beautiful, you guys. These didn't get like the best reviews, but they're so stunning. This shade, the glittery side, is so beautiful on the lid. So you use this one to like apply first, and then you use this one to apply over it. Honestly, probably the reason why I didn't get the best reviews is because the left side barely swatches. But it does translate on the lid really, really nicely. And then I'll put the glitter shade over it, and it's just so beautiful. Look how stunning that is. Doesn't that look like a pigment, like a pressed pigment? So I don't know why these didn't get as much love as the Glitter and Glows did, but this is, like I said, like the pressed version of the Glitter and Glows. And you can find these at Marshall's for like $5 or $6. So, but these are really good. I used this a couple of times, and I also did dot it on my lid for another video, and I can't remember what the video was for. But I could have sworn I shot a video in a butterfly shirt, or my butterfly shirt, and I was wearing this on my lid. And it was so pretty, but I did wear this recently, and I wore it as like a glittery topper when I wore like the Manny MUA Makeup Geek palette. And it looked so pretty. So I feel like this is versatile when it comes to like the glitter. So it's really, really beautiful. And then the 3 Stila shadows I wanted to mention were these 3 right here. First of all, the Stila Glitter and Glow and Fairy Tale, and then the 2 Shimmer and Glows that I own in Bohème and Carefree. Fairy Tale is the newest to my collection, and I did use it a couple of times this month. I only used it one more time after I shared it with you guys. But it's such a pretty, like, bronzy pink shade. I wish it would swatch a little bit better, but it's beautiful on the lid. I love this. It's just such a unique shade. And then I did actually finally get more use out of these 2 Shimmer and Glows, because I really felt like I was neglecting them. And the Shimmer and Glows are so freaking stunning. So these are the 2 shades that I have. So I have Carefree, which is this really beautiful pink. And then Bohème, which is this beautiful lavender. And I think that they looked stunning on the lid the 2 times that I got to use them. And I think I used the pink one, and I'm wearing it in my Marshalls versus TJ Maxx video. And I think I did say I was wearing it in that video, so I'm wearing it all over the lid in that video. And I loved it. And then the purple one I'm wearing in my makeup haul for the stuff that I shared from ColourPop and everything. I wore this all over the lid with my Maleficent shirt. So I got to use both of these this month. So yeah, you can't go wrong with the Stila liquid eyeshadows. They're so amazing. And then the last thing when it comes to eye products is I have not been able to put this mascara down since I've gotten it. I love it. This is the ColourPop BFF Volumizing Mascara. Volumizing Mascara. I'm sorry if I'm stumbling on my words. I really got horrible sleep last night. I don't know why. I'm just so overtired, you guys. I've been up for like so long because I didn't sleep that well the night before either, so bear with me. But there's just something about this mascara that I love. It just makes your lashes look fluffy. It's not necessarily like the most lengthening mascara, but it has so much volume, and it does such a good job of like separating your lashes, and it's just so easy to use, and I just freaking love it. So I've been using it constantly since I've gotten it, and it's just so good. I love this mascara. So I only use it on the top, but I just love the way that it makes my lashes look. So I've been obsessed with this and I can't stop using it. So it's so good. So now let's just talk about a couple of highlighters, of course. So I want to talk about some Smashbox highlighters because this is the first month that I actually ever tried Smashbox highlighters because I've never actually tried Smashbox highlighters before. So the first palette I wanted to mention is the Smashbox and Casey Holmes Spotlight palette in the shade Pearl. So it comes with 3 shades in here, and these are G-free shades, the 3 shades. And we have Turn It On, Crank It Up, and Blow a... I think this is Turn It On, Crank It Up, and Blow a Fuse. Yeah. Sorry, my bad. So what I'll do with this is I'll just swirl all 3 of these together. I'm actually going to use it in an upcoming Get Ready With Me, like basically right after this video. I'm going to post the Makeup and Chill Fridays that I'm going to use this in because I haven't used it in a video yet, and I've only used it about twice since I've gotten it because you guys know how many highlighters I actually own. But this is so pretty when you use it. It has like such a soft, such a subtlety to it, and they look so pretty on the face. Look how gorgeous those are. Like, they're so soft to the touch. And what I've been doing is I've been mixing all of them together, and that's all of them mixed. Look how pretty that is. It's that one right here, and these are them on its own. But this is it by itself, and they just look so pretty on the cheeks. So I do really like this, and I want to use it more often. So I'm hoping to use it more like this week, but I'm definitely going to use it tomorrow in my Makeup and Chill Fridays. But it is really, really good. But my number 1 face palette this month was the Smashbox Ablaze face palette. And this palette, again, is stunning. Everything in this palette is so good, you guys. So we have 2 bronzers, 2 blushes, and 2 highlighters. I basically used all of them. And I've been using these 2 blushes a lot this month, and they are so pigmented. The bronzer is so beautiful. It barely takes any amount of product to apply it. It's so buttery and soft and pigmented that all you do is do 1, 2, and you're done. Like, it's so pretty. And then the highlights are just as stunning. They're intense, but they're not like glittery. They're just really, really gorgeous. So I did use this in that Get Ready With Me with the ColourPop Cosmetics, I believe. I think I did use this palette in that video. Look at these highlights. Aren't those stunning? So this one is the gold, and this one's like that duochrome shade, but look how pretty. And I really love mixing them together. So I love those. And then the bronzer is so soft and so easy to blend out. I use this so much, at least a couple of times a week, and it's just such a beautiful bronzer. And then the blushes are so pigmented, and they last a really long time on the skin, which I'm really surprised that they do. This is the peach shade, and that's like that orangey shade. So freaking pretty. And yes, like the orange shades are like very summertime vibes, but they're so stunning. Like, I've been using them a ton, especially if I'm in a hurry and I don't know what blush to use, and I know I'm going to use like a corally blush anyway. I'll just use this palette to do blush, bronzer, and highlight, and it's so easy to use. But also because I'll plan to use it, but also like if I don't know what highlight or blush to use, I'll just use this, you know, obviously because it's like a 3-in-1 palette, and it's just so beautiful. Like, I always know it's going to look pretty. Then the last highlighting palette I wanted to talk about is the, well, not one of the last, but one of the ones that I've been testing out more this month is the Lancome Paris Starlight Sparkle Highlighter Palette. You guys know that I already have Sparkling Peach, so I don't really have to talk about that one because I have it in the full size. But I mostly wanted to talk about Shimmering Buff and, what is the pink shade called? Starlight Pink. So Shimmering Buff, like I said, is the only shade that I didn't have from them. That's a permanent one. Starlight Pink is, I think, only exclusive to this palette. So I finally got to utilize this shade this month and use it a couple of times because when I had first gotten the palette, I hadn't had even tested out this shade until this past month. So I got this palette like at least 2 months ago. But this pink shade is so pretty. It's such a stunning pink. It has like quite a bit of glitter in it, but it's so pretty. So that one is the Starlight Pink shade. They're just intense and beautiful and buttery, and I just absolutely love this formula. I haven't really used Shimmering Buff all that much lately, but I really want to use it more this month. So this one is Shimmering Buff. I could have used it today, but I really wanted to use my Flower Beauty palette today, so that's what I used as my highlight. So gorgeous. But this one is Shimmering Buff, so I gotta use those more. But yeah, really beautiful. Of course, I love the Lancome highlighters because you guys know how much I love Sparkling Peach. So yeah, love this palette. And then the last highlighting palette is the Dior Backstage Glow Face Palette in the shade Universal 001. I would be lying if I didn't mention this to you guys again because I did mention it last month, but I did use it quite a bit this month as well. I did definitely reach for it quite a bit this month as well. And again, these highlighters are just so beautiful. They have like a wet look to them without being wet. They're just so shimmery and gorgeous. And I just freaking love them. So those are the three highlighters that I use the most. I don't really use the bronze one. So that is the white, the gold, and the pink. I really got to use it again. Like every time I swatch it, all I want to do is use it. But I really have been trying to rotate more of my highlighters again. Like this is only the second time this year I've used the Flower Beauty palette. I'm like, yeah, I got to use you more. But yeah, Dior, stunning. Love them. Okay, then I just wanted to mention two individual highlighters really quick. I've been mixing these two quite a bit this month, and I really love them on the face. I think I used them in a Get Ready With Me 2 weeks ago. I think I used them when I wore this sweatshirt, but I also wore them last week, and I wore the Naked Cherry palette. I just didn't feel like recording a Makeup and Chill Fridays that Friday last week because my sister was home and it's like kind of weird recording when she's like in the next room. So I wanted to mention these two, and I did use these a couple times this month. The first one is the Milani Afterglow Strobe Light Instant Glow Powder. This one is just so pretty, you guys. It's like subtle without being like not too subtle. It's a very soft like just sheen. And this is like really beautiful for people that don't want like a super intense highlight, but it just looks like a beaming highlight on your face. Like look how stunning that is. And I really love mixing it with the Burberry Fresh Glow highlighter in the shade Rose Gold number 4. I know this one is pretty pricey as compared to the Milani one. And this one I actually did buy with my own money. My boyfriend didn't buy this for me. I got it with my own money like last December or something, like a year ago. And I just really love the combo of the two together. That's the Burberry one, which they both aren't like super intense. They both have like this gorgeous sheen to them, but let's like mix them together. So I'm going to put the Burberry one on top of the Milani one, and that's how they look together. See how it's a little bit lighter than the Burberry by itself? It's not like as rose gold. It's a little bit more pink. I just love that combination. So I've been doing that quite a bit this month, and I really love it. So these two highlighters I highly recommend if you want something that's not like too glittery. So that is it for highlighters. So now all we have is a couple of lip products. Honestly, there's barely any lip products here. Oh, I forgot to mention one blush. I wanted to mention this blush really quick. This is the Galactic Star Blush in the shade Naples. I pulled this out recently in my collection, and I forgot how good that this blush is. Yes, it's like kind of falling apart, but it's such a good blush. Like, it's so beautiful on the cheeks. That one is right here. It's a beautiful satiny kind of like light shimmery brown, and it's just so stunning on the cheeks. So I've been using that quite a bit this month as well. Like I kind of wanted to whip out my blushes out of and some of my highlighters out of like my broken box of highlights and stuff, and I've been using this more often, and it's so pretty. I'm actually wearing the Galactic Cobble Bronzer today too. So now when it comes to lipsticks, the only lipstick that I've worn consistently throughout the whole month a couple times is the ColourPop and Kathleen Lights Twinkling Lights Ultra Matte Lip in the shade Little Star. I have worn this a couple of times in videos. I wore this in the Chit Chat Get Ready With Me when I tested out the ColourPop. And I'm also wearing this in my makeup update video of my low buy. And it's just such a beautiful shade. And I feel like the reason why I'm utilizing this so much right now is because like after March, I'm not really going to be able to wear it all that much. But look how beautiful it is. Like it's not too brown, but it's not too like brick red. It's kind of like in the middle. On the lips, it looks a little bit more subtle than the way it looks right now. I actually just picked these up from Marshall's today. Somehow, I found a Simple Makeup wipes at Marshall's. They had one pack and they were $4. So I was so happy because I was like completely out of my e.l.f. makeup wipes. So I'm like, yeah, I gotta go get some more. So anyway, I've worn this 3 times this month, which is like unheard of for me when it comes to lipsticks. But I just really wanted to get some use out of it before the winter ends, because once the winter ends, I'm really not going to wear this again in the spring and summer. But this is the only lipstick that I picked up, and I love it. I really do love the updated formula of the Ultra Matte lips. This one feels a lot softer and not as drying as like the older ones do. So really, really pretty. And then the other 3 lipsticks I wanted to mention, which is crazy, but I did start wearing these again, and honestly, I do like them. Even though I don't support him, I still like feel like it's kind of a waste if I don't wear these in my collection because they're just sitting on my shelf. So I decided to whip them out and start using them again, and I do like them. And I'm talking about the Jeffree Star Cosmetics liquid lipsticks. I have Celebrity Skin, Doll Parts, and Androgyny. I actually do use this color in an upcoming Get Ready With Me when I do like a really colorful look. And I was wearing this lipstick, or I was considering wearing it in my Frozen video. But these are really good. Like, they all perform really nicely. I don't love the scent, but honestly, the formula is good. Like, they are very comfortable on the lips. They last a long time. They're super pigmented. So I don't really have any complaints about them. It's just the person that makes them that I have a, you know, you guys know, like, I don't really have to get into it, but I am going to talk about them that I do like these. So we have Celebrity Skin, Doll Parts, and Androgyny. They're just such pretty, cool-toned shades for the winter time, and I really have been enjoying them lately. So I have been using those lately, and I have to say I do really like them. I just really wanted to start using them again because I actually did declutter a couple of Lime Crime Velveteens this past month, and I was kind of missing like other pinks in my collection, and I was kind of looking at these and I was like, you know what, I kind of want to use them, but I ended up using all 3 of them this month, and I do like them. And now I just have 2 glosses to talk about, and that's it. The first one is the one I'm wearing on my lips, the Fenty Beauty Gloss Bomb Universal Lip Luminizer in the shade Fussy. I love this lip gloss to top over like any pink lipstick. It is just so beautiful. I've been kind of obsessed with this gloss this past month. Basically, these 2 glosses that I'm mentioning are like the only 2 glosses that I've just been wanting to wear this past month. I haven't really worn any other glosses. So this one is the Fussy shade from Fenty Beauty. I really, really love it. And it just has like this milky consistency. It's not like too thick. Like it feels thick when you first put it on, but when you're wearing it like throughout the day, like it doesn't really feel thick. Like you can kind of feel it on your lips, but it's not like sticky. It doesn't make your lips stick together. It's just gorgeous and it looks beautiful over any lipstick. I finally wore it on its own, like to my boyfriend's house with like just some mascara, and he was like, oh my god, I love your lips. And it just makes your lips look so juicy and beautiful when you wear it like by itself. But you guys know like I can never just wear a gloss anymore, like because I have too many lipsticks. But I do love wearing like this by itself. And then the last gloss, which I'm so happy that I was able to find this in my bag recently. I found it in one of my Coach bags recently, and I was like, oh my god, like I can't believe I found this. I thought I lost this forever. So this is the L'Oreal Paris Infallible 8-Hour Pro Gloss, and this one is in the shade 805 Suede. 805 Suede. This is the only other gloss that I've been using, and I really, really like it. First off, the L'Oreal scent is so, like, I love the scent of L'Oreal glosses and lipsticks. But this is just so pretty on the lips. Like, it's not too heavy, and honestly, it's not that pigmented. Like, it's not that glittery. It's kind of more like a metallic-y kind of peachy shade, and it's so pretty over lipstick. So I love this over lipsticks. I think I wore this I think I wore this over my little star lipstick. Or maybe, did I wear it in that video? I can't remember if I wore it in that update video over the lipstick. I think I did. But anyway, it's so beautiful. It reminds me of like, I don't know. It's like, I would love this in like a nail polish color. Like, I think that's why I love it so much. It's just so pretty. So I love this guy. I definitely love this more than the Infallible lipstick. I actually finally wore that a couple of days ago recently, and I wore this over it. And I think the reason why I like the lipstick more was because I wore it with this. And that's it, you guys. Let me stop stumbling and talking like a crazy person because I'm so freaking tired. And honestly, I've had my makeup on for about 7 hours now, which I didn't think it was going to be on for this long because when I actually came home from work, at first I went to CVS and I was going to pick up my CeraVe nighttime moisturizer because I just ran out. So I actually had to go back home to get my credit card because I forgot to bring my credit card to work. I was like, great. So then I had to go back to CVS and pick this up. And then I went to Marshall's, and lo and behold, I found my Simple Makeup Wipes were $3 cheaper than I would have found them at CVS. So yeah, that is pretty much it. I love you guys. Please like and subscribe. Follow me on all my social media. Well, those are the only 2 purchases that I made recently. I'm still waiting for my tax return so I can get makeup that I want, but I am definitely makeup free the past 3 weeks for February, so we are allowed to spend a little bit of money in March on some makeup. So yeah, I'm feeling good about this no buy and only buying a couple times a month, 2 or 3 products here and there. But yeah, that's it. Love you guys. Please like and subscribe. Follow me on all my social media. Please let me know what your favorites are this month. Please, please, please tell me. Tell me, tell me, tell me. It does not matter who you support. I would love to know. Like, just let me know. Okay? Love you guys. Bye.